In this video, I'm going to talk about the best focal length for portrait photography if you're shooting with an APS-C crop sensor camera. Hey everybody, welcome to Dan Bullman Photography. If this is your first time watching, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to stay up to date on all of the awesome photography content I'm putting out. Now let's get to it. Now discussions about focal length of lenses can get very complicated if you're shooting with a crop sensor camera. There's a lot of math involved. So on APS-C crop sensor cameras, the equivalent focal length on full frame cameras is multiplied by 1.5. So if you're shooting with a 35mm lens on a crop sensor camera, the focal length equivalent on a full frame camera is 35 times 1.5, or about 50mm. So in my opinion, for crop sensor cameras, the two best focal lengths are 35mm and 50mm. So 35mm is close to about a 50mm lens, which is considered a normal lens. And then 50mm is close to 75mm. And if you're shooting with something like 56 on Fuji, that's also really good too. So why 35 and 50mm? Well, with a 35mm lens on a crop sensor camera, you're going to be able to have a lot of versatility. So you can shoot headshots, but you can also do more environmental portraits or portraits that show a lot more of the scene that your subject is in. So I prefer shooting with a 35mm lens on a crop sensor camera when I'm doing portraits, but a lot of people like the 50mm lens too. Now the 50mm lens is great if you're going for headshots or even sort of like upper body portraits. You can also do full length portraits, but it's a lot tougher to do that with a 50mm lens. When you're shooting with a crop sensor camera, the 50mm is great for getting good bokeh. You're gonna get a little bit more bokeh than you would with a 35mm lens. So if that's important to you, getting those lights in the background out of focus and really kind of blurred out in a very interesting way, the 50mm lens is great for that. Again, all of this comes down to personal preference. Some people like shooting with a 24mm lens because they want a wider scene. And some people also would like to shoot like an 85mm lens on a crop sensor because it's closer to like a 135, where they can do very tight headshots and get the background to go way out of focus. So I'll link up to a video that I did with my friend Kevin where he shot some portraits out on the street with the 85mm lens on the Sony A6000. So you can see the sort of tight headshots he was able to get with the 85mm lens. So without further ado, I'm going to show you some sample images that I've taken with the 35mm f1.8 and the 50mm f1.8 on my Sony A6000. So I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it useful. Leave a comment down below and let me know what is your favorite portrait lens for your crop sensor camera. Also, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I put out a lot of videos about portrait photography and film photography, so if you're interested in that, please hit the subscribe button down below. We'll see you soon, folks. This has been another episode of Dan Bullman Photography. Peace.